Before meeting my parents, for the first time, I asked my girlfriend to dress modestly. She snapped, "Don't be weird. I can wear what I want. I am not your property." That night, my parents pulled me aside and said one sentence that changed everything. Before meeting my parents for the first time, I asked my girlfriend Megan to dress modestly. She snapped, "Don't be weird. I can wear what I want. I'm not your property." That night, my parents pulled me aside and said one sentence that ended our relationship. My parents are traditional people. My dad spent 40 years as a carpenter. My mom was a nurse. They believe in respect and quiet dignity. Their home isn't a place for loud arguments or flashy displays. Megan was the opposite. A self-proclaimed lifestyle influencer, always performing for an invisible audience on her phone. I thought the person she was when the camera was off was the real her. I was wrong. The week before dinner, I carefully approached what she should wear. "My parents are old-fashioned. That blue dress from my company dinner would be perfect." She exploded. "You're trying to tell me what to wear? I'm not going to dress like a librarian to appease your backward parents. Don't be weird. I can wear what I want. I am not your property." She turned a respectful request into a feminist crusade. I didn't argue. I knew the weekend was going to be a disaster. She showed up Saturday night wearing a tight black leather dress with a neckline that plunged to her navel and a slit to her hip. It was designed for a nightclub, not a quiet family dinner. "What do you think?" she asked, defiance in her eyes. I didn't say a word. I just got my jacket. The dinner was excruciating. My mother froze when she saw Megan's outfit, then recovered with a polite smile. My father gave a slow nod, his eyes unreadable. They didn't mention her dress, but their disapproval was palpable. Megan felt it. Instead of bridging the gap, she burned the bridge down. She was loud, obnoxious, dominating conversations with influencer drama. She was constantly on her phone taking selfies, oblivious to my mother's horrified expression. At one point, she showed us a rival influencer's photo. "Look at her outfit, so desperate. She's trying so hard to be edgy." My father, who'd been silent most of the meal, finally spoke. "We have a rule in this house, Megan. We don't speak ill of others at our dinner table." She stared at him in pure shock. No one had ever told her no before. She gave an ugly laugh, rolled her eyes, and went back to her phone. I spent the rest of dinner in quiet, simmering rage. She wasn't just disrespecting me anymore. She was disrespecting my parents in their own home. The drive back was silent. I dropped her off and told her I was going back to help clean up. She scoffed and slammed the car door. When I returned, my mom was furiously scrubbing dishes. My dad sat in his armchair, staring into the empty fireplace. I started apologizing, but my dad held up a hand. He and my mom pulled me aside into the den. Then my dad said the sentence that changed everything. "Son, you don't build a life with a woman who looks at your family and sees an audience instead of a home." It wasn't a judgment or an order to break up. It was a simple, profound observation that cut through all my excuses and delusions. She wasn't trying to join my family. She was trying to conquer it, to make it another backdrop in the narcissistic movie of her own life. In that moment, I knew I was done. I didn't break up with her that night. That would have been too easy. Instead, I became a ghost. For the next month, I withdrew completely. I deactivated her joint credit card. When she complained it was declined, I said, "That's weird. You should call the company." I stopped being her photographer. When she asked me to take photos, I said, "Sorry, I'm busy. You'll figure it out." I stopped going to her influencer events and reconnected with my own friends. She confronted me weeks later. "What is wrong with you? You're acting so weird. Is this still about that stupid dinner?" "I'm reassessing my priorities," I said calmly. "And I'm not one of them," she asked, self-pitying. "You made it very clear that night what your priorities are. Yourself, your image, your absolute right to do whatever you want, regardless of who it disrespects. I'm just taking a page from your book." The final blow came when our apartment lease was ending. We'd talked about buying a house together. One evening, she found me looking at blueprints. "What's that?" "Plans for my new house." "Our new house, you mean?" "No, mine. I'm not renewing this lease. You'll need to find a new place." The meltdown was spectacular. She cried, screamed, begged, promised to change. It was all performance. I didn't budge. Her parents offered no support after I explained what she'd done. She tried turning friends against me, but everyone knew about her behavior. In the end, she moved back into her childhood bedroom at 30 years old with a failed influencer career and no prospects.